All right, listen, I am so glad that we're going to get this off the road. We've already been talking about title abstracting made simple. I think in the previous video that you may have seen, we were talking about basic legal description identification, basic types of legal descriptions and things that you could expect to see in the legal description, and the purpose of the legal description and the validity as well. So right now, I want to pull up a parcel grid. I want to pull up what we call a parcel grid so you can take a look at it and get a general idea of what is seen on that parcel grid. So we talked about the mapping department in most counties having a parcel grid of that particular area, and it sort of shows the public land survey. It's a whole public land survey system, and so I'm going to pull up on the screen a sample of a parcel grid and give you an idea of when we're talking about legal descriptions. If it's in a subdivision, we talked about it's going to be a lot, block, and subdivision name because it's part of a plat map. It's been platted. If it is not a part of a subdivision, the chances are it's going to be meets and bounds, and it's going to be a part of a sometimes section, town, and range. In some cases, it's just meets and bounds without the section, township, and range, depending on whether or not there's a public land survey system that's in place in that particular area. Okay, so I want to give you an idea. So why am I doing this? Let me tell you a little bit about myself. Okay, so this is something that I've been doing for several decades, and I don't mean two or three. I've been doing this for several decades. I started this when I was a very, very young adult. Okay, and it started because I was a realtor, and I was also a licensed mortgage banker. And back then, that was not considered a conflict of interest. You could do both back then. And so the closing attorney that was working everything out for us, he was a real estate attorney, but the problem was he would get extremely backlogged. So I ended up having to help him with the title work along with his assistant that was there. That's when we had paper title jackets, and I'd have to do all of that. Then he started sending me down to the records room with specific instructions. Then he started coming down to the records room to teach me how to do the title work because he was going to need me to get the title work done. That was a long time ago when Stewart Title started out. I'm trying to remember the name that they started out with eons ago. It's not coming to me, but anyways, long time ago. And he introduced me to some of the title companies. We had Mississippi Title and some other companies, but he introduced me to those title companies as the one that was going to be doing the abstracting for his company. So I was then a licensed realtor. I was a licensed mortgage banker, and then I was an abstract as well. And back then in Georgia, you didn't need a license to be a title agent. So he had me, once I got signed up with title companies, he had me preparing the title jackets and getting those things done, and helping his assistant to do the title examination. So anyway, that was a long time ago when that particular attorney helped me. And then there was another attorney, Attorney Tom Starlins, who helped me become a notary. He took care of all of that for me. Then there was another attorney in that city who helped me to actually get involved with abstracting. And that's when I ended up branching out and opening up an office there to do abstracting. He sent me most of my work, but we got most of our work from a company called, oh, wow, what was it called? So it was Peel Corporation, and then it was another, wow, I cannot, Land America was one of them, but there was another company, begin with a G. But anyway, we did work for Peel Corporation, Land America, and then whoever this other company whose name is escaping me. We did title work for them consistently all the time, along with the attorneys that helped to get us started. We of course had a fiduciary responsibility to them because they helped to get us started. But that was how we got involved in title abstracting, and it was it's been a wonderful ride since then. So we ended up forming two different companies. Then one was established in the incorporated in Delaware. The other one was incorporated in Rhode Island. We kept those companies, and in addition to some other companies that we were able to co-found, and then a multitude of other companies that have participated in the limited franchise opportunities that we provided. So it helped us to be able to assist people to get involved in the abstracting business in several different areas in several different states. You'd be surprised how many companies actually started as a limited franchise unit of our company and are now just flourishing and doing excellent in the business. Some of them are local right here. Some of them are in various other states, and some of them are in this state in other cities. It's been a blessing. And we have a network so that if you're a part of our network and you need to have something gotten from the county in another area where you're not located and it's got to be boots on the ground, we work the network within us. So we got a lot of sponsors and affiliates that are non-abstracting companies, but they are companies that are a part of our easy corporate comprehensive curriculum for a new business. They're part of that network. And so they become sponsors and investors in our corporation. So, I mean, it's just a wonderful field. This book is Easy Corporate Comprehensive Curriculum for New Business Owners. It's a whole organization. We have like a corporate boot camp each year where all of the people who are part of that network that have gone through our curriculum and they've now got their own corporations and been working with some of the non-qualifying mortgage lenders that we got them involved in, and some of them have purchased their properties and they're working on their properties that they purchased through their corporations, and others of them are working on building their strategic plan for their own corporations. And so in this network, different companies help each other. They come together, they network with one another, they stay a part of the network, and they help each other, and they continue to filter others through this course because it's been a huge benefit to them. They get a chance to meet venture capitalists and just all kinds of other things that they are introduced to that they wouldn't normally have had the privy of being a part of the network. But this is the book that we're working from today, titled Abstracting Made Simple, a pathway for limited franchise success. That's what we're going to be working from today. See that picture right there of the old books in the record room? Yeah, whenever it's not online, we've got to go to the records room. I remember when stuff started being online, the title company, they wouldn't accept it from online. We had to go to the records room because the insurer wouldn't accept it online unless it was a specific title plant that belonged to them. We had to go to the records room to abstract those records. But anyway, that's a little bit about me and my history. This is what I go to the county in. Can you guys see this? Can you see that? Public researching. Yeah. I go to the county in this, and I've been doing this for years. We've got different colors of these little tunics. But it's a benefit to me because when I go to the county, I have a lot of people to ask about, the company, people who aspire to be abstractors. Some people are licensed title agents. I myself am a licensed title agent. But it's a wonderful way to network. So I always wear this whenever I go out to the courthouse, to the records room. It's a nice way to network, to meet other people, to get involved. You're only as wealthy as your network, the size of your network. So you always want to increase your network because you never know how that's going to benefit your net worth. All right. So enough about me. Let's get on with this teaching. And I apologize for taking so much of your time. All right. So I'm going to bring this up on the screen. So can you guys see that grid? Can you see it? Let me see. I'm going to stop that banner from flowing at the bottom. Maybe that will. All right. So that helps us to see our baseline. Want to make sure there's nothing else obstructing your view. So this is an illustration of a land parcel grid. It is the illustration of a particular county's public land survey system, also known as PLSS. So if you get this book, or if you have this book, go to page 40, this book here. Yeah. Go to page 40. All right. And you're going to see where we're starting from. So this particular type of system was established way back in 1785. Check that out. So that's when areas begin, settlements begin to be organized, and they divided the settlements into a big grid so that they could get an understanding of who owned what. It provides a standardized way of describing the land's parcels by breaking it into townships, sections, and ranges. Okay, so if you look there, you can see the township. You everybody see the township? So the township measures 6 by 6. It's got a total of 36 miles, and it measures 6 miles by 6 miles. Each township contains how many sections? 36 sections. Yeah. And so it's numbered in like a snake-like pattern from the top right corner, all right, through section 1 on the bottom right corner, all the way down through section that's at the bottom right corner, and that will be section 36. So we're going to start in section 1, snake our way down to the bottom right corner to section 36. Okay. Then if you look at the area that's the range, giving you a chance to look at that. All right. Can you? Okay. So the east-west measurement of townships, it defines the longitude lines relative to the principal meridian line. That's a central reference for longitude. We all know that. I just thought I'd say it to make sure that you guys knew I was talking about the actual principal meridian. Okay, so it's similar to the township's north-south position, and it's defined as relative to the baseline. Look at the bottom, you see the baseline. And that baseline is a reference for latitude. Okay? All right. Did we get that? We're talking about the range section. Measuring east-west of the townships. And it can be defined by that longitude line that's relative to the meridian line, the central reference longitude line. Okay, it's similar to the township's north and south position. Okay. And then the sections. If you can see section, you see that? Okay, so the first square in the section is 640 acres, and it's divided into smaller parcels. That's each section. Each section is 1 square mile. 1 square mile. Okay? That's 640 acres. Okay. And it's divided into smaller parcels. So we got different quarters, right? So a quarter is a section. So when you're looking at that grid, all right, a quarter is one of those sections that's divided into 4 quarters. It's a section that's divided into 4 quarters. What do you think the 4 quarters are in relation to directions? All right. Northwest quarter, northeast quarter, southwest quarter, southeast quarter. All right. Each quarter can be divided further into quarters, creating 160 acres or even 80 acres or 40 acres as you reduce it into smaller lots. Yeah. Okay. All right. So when we start looking at an example of a legal description, so you guys can see the grid there. You see at the top, you got the north, and then the bottom, you've got the baseline. So you've got north, south, and then you got west, east there. You've got range 1 here, right? Range 1, that's your west. Range 2, that's going to be east, right? Okay. And then if you look at your township, you got township. Can you guys see this? All right. Okay, I want to make sure that you're seeing that, because your townships are gonna run in sections that are north and south. Okay, so there's an example of a legal description here in the book, and again, we're using This book here. Yeah. Title Abstracting Made Simple. Okay. So just briefly, a legal description would be the land description. Well, it might read something similar. Let's see. I'm trying to see if I can. If I don't see one, I'll just come up with one really quick. Let me just come up with one. Okay. All right. I got one here. Okay. So the Northwest quarter. It's in this same thing that's in the book. The Northwest quarter. I must really like this one of Section 10. All right. Section 10. So where is Section 10? I don't know if y'all can see my pointer. I'm pointing to Section 10, but I don't know if you can see it. Section 10. All right. And remember, the sections are divided up into what? What do we say they were divided up in? To quarters. Right. The sections are divided up into 4 quarters. Okay. You remember that. All right. So Section 10, and that's the northwest quarter of Section 10. So where is the northwest quarter? We see the northeast quarter. Where would be the next northwest? There it is. Okay. All right. So you see the northwest quarter right there. All right. I should have put this overhead so you could see it that way. I should have used that as my background so that you could see it that way. But anyway, the northwest quarter right there of Section 10. All right. Township 4. So where would Township 4 be? Right, because they're going north and south. All right, very good. All right. Township 4, north. Okay. Range 3, west. Range 3, west. Okay. All right. All right. So this means the parcel is in the northwest quarter of the section, right? It's in the northwest quarter of Section 10. That's within a township, and that's going to be 4 tiers north of the baseline. Okay, so you see the baseline, right? All right, so now count up 4 tiers north of the baseline. All right, very good. Excellent. Excellent. I'm trying to make sure that everybody understands what I'm saying. All right. And then 3 ranges west of the principal meridian line. 3 ranges west. Okay. So I don't know if you can see my cursor, but we're going to be going this way because we're headed west. 3 ranges west. All right. All right. All right. Very good. So, and all this stuff that we've talked about, how many square feet are in an acre? How many square feet are in an acre? All right. So land is often measured in acres, which we know. We've talked about it. All right. So when we start talking about, we might want to take it a different way. Yeah, we might want to go a different way because I know we've talked about 1 square mile being 640 acres, but I don't think we've talked about. So let's go a different way. Let me go a different route. Okay. So we measure land a lot of times in acres. That's what we hear. We don't always hear a square acre. We just hear an acre. All right. So a standard unit of an acre is 43,560 feet. That's for a standard acre. 43,560 feet. And then a section or 1 square mile is how many acres? 640 acres. All right. 1 acre is 43,560 feet. Talking about feet. That's for 1 acre. But when we talk about a section is actually 1 square mile. Totally different. That encompasses 640 acres. Okay. All right. So if we look at a quarter section, 1/4 of a section. Now remember, we said a section was 1 square mile, which encompasses 640 acres, right? Okay, so when we take a quarter section, a quarter of that section, that's going to be 1/4 of that 640, right? So that would be 160 acres. Okay. And then a quarter, what are we doing? We're breaking that down to a fourth of the fourth. All right. So a quarter section is a fourth of the big old section. And the size of a section we know is 1 square mile. We know the amount of acres in a square mile is 640 acres. You with me? All right. So when we start talking about a quarter section of that big old section, we're talking about a fourth of that section, which breaks down to 160 acres of that 640 acres. Now, when you see quarter section, all right, that's a quarter of the quarter section. We know the quarter section is a quarter of the big section, 160 acres. A quarter of that quarter would be, that's right, 1/4 of that 160 acres, which would be 40 acres. Excellent. All right, so when we're looking at this illustration, you can get in your mind almost the size of a football field, because it would take, well, more than one football field. It would take take several football fields to fill up a standard 640 acre section. Nah, probably about 30. Yeah, probably about 30. Because one football field is what? Like an acre and a half, acre, 1.32 acres. That's the size of a football field. Roughly about 1.32 acres. So it would take about 30 football fields to fill in the standard size of a section, or 1 square mile, which we know is 640 acres. Okay, I'm going to stop right there. And when we come back, we may go into understanding more about meets and bounds descriptions. But I initially wanted you to understand that portion of the measurement so you would understand how it works. It's really important to me that as I'm helping with this information, and why is this important? Why is this important to someone who owns property? Well, the reason why it's important is, firstly, remember I talked to you in the previous recording about how people are able to commit fraud and take other people's property by taking a portion of their legal description. Yeah, they take a portion of their legal description and they say, these people, you, Mr. and Mrs. Owner, they're saying in their deed, in their fake deed, that you conveyed them a certain portion of your property. They take a legal description from they graft the legal description from your full legal description and deed themselves a portion of your property. So whether you own multiple acres or a half acre or a lot, they can do that and convey themselves a portion of the interest of your property. Yes, they can. I've seen it done. I've seen it done up close, in person. I've seen it done. And been involved with the attorneys to help work that thing out. So I know that it can be done. It's being done all the time. And then what they do, they borrow against it. You're thinking, well, they can't do anything with it, but they can. They can borrow against it. And guess what? It encumbers your property. Yes, it encumbers your property because it's a part of the legal description of your property. And sometimes it's the full legal description of your property. Yes. So they obligate you to something that you didn't know you had borrowed, and then they don't pay it. And the next thing you know, you're getting a knock on the door from the sheriff. So it's important to understand these things for yourself. I'm an avid fan of helping people to understand things for themselves. This helps owners understand more about their legal description and what it all means. Yeah. And for people who want to be abstractors or aspire to be abstractors, I'm here to help you with more of an understanding of meets and bounds. So it seems irrelevant until you start looking at your deed and seeing that, wait a minute, my cousin's is lot number, block number, and subdivision. Why is mine not that? Well, because yours is not in a platted subdivision. Yours is meets and bounds. Yeah. And it's based on that parcel grid for the city. And so you have to understand how to read it and understand the city system, so you can know exactly where your land is approximated. You've worked too hard for this property. You've worked too hard. You need to know. Abstract is, if you're interested, this is a very vital part. You've got to know how to read legal descriptions so you understand exactly where they're located. And when you go to identify other instruments, you can confirm whether or not that instrument is encumbering your property. You can't go by the address. You need to go by the legal description because it's more accurate. It's not going to change the way, unless there are some outsales, the way that a 911 address is subject to change. Okay, so that's why some of these things are relevant. Just wanted to make sure that you understand that I am here to help in whatever way I can. Why? Because you deserve the best. You deserve the best of whatever it is that you're desiring. If you want to know more about abstracting, you deserve to know about abstracting. You deserve to get involved in one of the number one industries that exist in real estate development. Yeah, you don't have to know how to sell. You don't have to know how to list. You don't have to participate in any of that. And you can still be an intricate part of the real estate industry and get your piece of the financial pie. Yeah. And if you're an owner, you just want to know more about your property and understand it so you can keep an eye on what's going on with it every once in a while, or know how to order an abstract and know what to say to them in terms of what it is you want them to check on for you periodically. This is for you. Okay. And if you're interested in getting in the business yourself, not just knowing about abstracting, but getting in the business, Title Abstracting Made Simple: The Pathway to Limited Franchise Success. We've helped hundreds of people get involved in this industry, and we would love to help you. Well, I hope this has been benefit to you. This is Public Research Inc., Abstracting and Title Company, and I'm Jacqueline Battle saying, listen, the field is big enough for all of us. Get in the game. Let's play. Thank you.